All right, welcome back to Daybreak. Gentlemen, I'll ask you to flip to page 12 of the Standard. And there's an op-ed there by Kidi Mwaga. And he says Gachagua has brought Kenya shame with his cries in the U.S. Mheshimiwa Ngogoyo, do you agree?
I don't know the context, but one of the things I had His Excellency the President and several other people complaining is that they want, actually the CS has said that when Gachagua comes, they want him to record a statement or something. First of all, the Constitution and Wakili is here. Any Kenyan is not obligated to assist the government of Kenya in anything. There is no obligation. So if they want Gachagua to assist them in the investigation or information that he has, he's not obligated. He has been clear that he will give information to the US government on the things that the president has been doing to assist in the fight in Southern Sudan, on what he knows about the Al-Shabaab and the connection of the president to the Al-Shabaab. And for your information, those people calling for the arrest of Gachagua, writing of a statement, Murkomen said they are chiefs that were abducted when the president was going to Bandera. He said he's going to negotiate with the Al-Shabaab. So courtesy of that, he should also write a statement. Duale in Parliament has mentioned twice that they need to engage the Al-Shabaab. So he should also write a statement on, because he knows who to engage in Al-Shabaab. Telling Gachagua that he's going to write a statement, he needs to pass by the DCI, he will not go. And even if he was to go there, he's not obligated to give them any information. About him talking from the US, you know, you might hate him or not like him, he's in his right. And Kenya must be talked about. In the US, in Australia, we must talk about Kenya. This is not a private country. It is not a company. This is a country where all of us hold divergent opinions about this country. And I'm very proud of Gachagua, the DCP leader. I am so excited about his vocalness on the issues. I know some people would want us to keep quiet over what is happening in the country. We must talk about the things that we don't believe in this country that are not going on well. And lastly, there was a president called Nikolai Ceausescu. He believed he's the savior of this country. He never knew there's anything going wrong. He forced people into coercion on so many things. I'm not saying we have Nikolai in this country, but I want you to go to 1989 history, because that's when he left power. The Romanian president was so addicted to issues of housing, extrajudicial killings, to an extent that the day he left power, he was killed by his own countrymen. It is wrong for any leader to cause mayhem, to cause violence, and to force his countrymen into what they do not believe in.
Okay. Dr. Lo, your thoughts? Do you agree Gachagua has brought Kenya shame with his quote-unquote cries in the US?
You know, we are a country with very short memories, eh? And this is the thing we need to be careful about. In the first term of Uhuruto government, all was well. In the second term of Uhuruto government, the current president was the Gachagua of today. He was deputy president, opposing his own government, inside government. And there are things he would say that are not very different from what Gachagua is saying. The Gachagua we are seeing today was not the same Gachagua that was there at the inauguration. The statements he was making and how he was approaching things at that point, he wasn't listening to anybody. So the point I'm making is that this is our typical nature. When we are in, we are throwing stones outside. When we are outside, we are throwing stones inside. So what is our problem? Our problem goes back to what our values are. Can you criminalize freedom of expression? Can you criminalize freedom of thought and freedom of conscience? You can't. If he's saying he has information, let him give the information wherever he wants to give it. Don't say, oh, it's a shame, bring it here. No, no. Let him give the information. It's his right, it's his freedom, so do. So what we are saying is that it cannot be that is criminal because he is crying or he's saying something that you don't like. No. In fact, that is exactly the essence of freedom. That I should be able to say what I think, however stupid, however foolish, as long as I'm expressing myself.
But some of those allegations are quite serious. Shouldn't there be an expectation that you would back them?
I wouldn't be worried, for example, if the allegations are serious, then they are true. But if they are not serious, then if they are not true, then they're just what it is. So I would not be worried. I would not be bothered. If he knows something that he wants to say, let him say it. Whether it's true or not is something that can be tested. And how do you test it? Investigate. If it's true or if there's nothing there, you take the right action. But do it with objectivity. Don't go by already saying, come and write a statement because you already want to criminalize him or you want to treat him as a suspect. No. Give him the opportunity. Okay. Maybe he has nothing to say. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa Sossion?
So I think what Gachagua is doing is just fishing for political relevance. And I think it is time he begins choosing his statements so that it can be relevant. And from this opinion of Kidim Mwaga, could be the opinion of many of us, that Gachagua has brought shame with his cries in the US, because you listen to the validity of the statements that he's making. When you say the president is an accomplice with the terrorists, that's a serious statement. And I want you to know that Kenya and the US ties in terms of security and combating international terrorism is so tight. And even some of the statements is talking about forwarding to the government of the US. I think even a third-rate government officer in the US will not entertain such info. Info about security and what is happening within the region is very well contained within the diplomatic and security networks between Kenya and the US. It is not something to joke about it. 7th of August, bomb blast is still very fresh. The Al-Shabaab in Somalia is still very fresh. And that was cracked by the Kenyan security forces, where even the regional forces could not manage. And therefore, trying to toy around the security matters within the region, which are well contained and seized between the government of Kenya and the US, I think Gachagua is fishing for the wrong information. And therefore, I would say this is, let him talk about other issues, no problem. But talking about security and saying he has information that the president is engaging the terrorists, I think is a serious thing, because the president, other than being the head of government, is the chair of National Security Advisory Council.
Let me add some nuance to this conversation. Gachagua's statements come on the backdrop of a call for a review of Kenya's major non-NATO ally status. And within the proposed amendments to some legislation in the US to do with defense, they've called for an assessment, for example, with the relationship of the Kenyan government, institutions, and key political players.
Yeah, that entirely
those
true.
Terrorist organizations.
The petition that is in Parliament in the US is by a senator just like Ngogoyo here in Kenya, who can say anything freely.
No,
but that is not the position of. But that is not the position of
the
government.
Foreign Relations Committee.
No, but that is not. Yeah, it can be. It doesn't matter.
Actually, a Republican senator.
Yeah, yes, it doesn't matter. And place that petition, of course, it will be processed by the senators at the US. The non-NATO ally admission of Kenya is for strategic security reasons. That favors both, that is both in the interest of the US and Kenya government. And if Gachagua thinks he's going to volunteer information that is going to make that petition to succeed, he should volunteer factual information. But stating that the president is an accomplice with the terrorists, I think that indeed would be going overboard. And if it is about him recording a statement with the DCI, then it is well and square, because if you have any useful information that is going to reveal facts to the country, don't just talk about them in podiums and in political forums. Be man enough and record that statement at the DCI. There's nothing wrong.
Right.
Go record that statement so that it is a legal fact that can stand on 4 legs.
Right.
Otherwise, without which, if you still fear going to record serious statements at the DCI, then it means you are a charlatan, a liar, fishing for propaganda that is not going to help the country. Let us do politics, all of us.
All right.
The way we
Let's
do.
get your take.
But let us not do politics with security matters.
Okay.
Security of our region and security of the world is key.
You know, if you don't control Sosion's mic, he can speak until But I am happy that Mheshimiwa is talking about we are not a company. Remember, we said that Gachagua was trying to promote elements of a company in a country that is a sovereign state,
Shareholders?
The issue of shareholders. And those are the reasons why Gachagua was kicked out. One of the reasons he was kicked out from office. But I am not surprised. Gachagua is not only an embarrassment in the US, but also in Kenya. This is a gentleman that has decided that he's going to be reckless and careless. And therefore, he is a promoter of national and international disunity. Look at what he's doing. He has issues with the people back at home, but he has decided to go in a foreign country to explain himself in a foreign land instead of coming back home and addressing those issues right here. But let me tell you, we might argue that Gachagua is enjoying freedom of expression. But I think that freedom of expression should not extend to some of the vilifications that we are seeing from Gachagua. It shouldn't, because that's what the law says. So I agree that he can say whatever he wants. But some of the allegations that Rigathi Gachagua has made, there are serious allegations that can strain relationship between countries, even in a region. And therefore, I think Gachagua should be a person of interest, not because he's guilty, but because he has information that can help sort a problem. He has information that can help this country progress. He has information that can help this country move from point A to point B in terms of what he has been alleging. Number 3, I also find Gachagua's politics parochial. You cannot claim to be a national leader and your politics is ethnically based. For you, you go to a foreign country, instead of meeting Kenyans in the diaspora, you meet your community in the diaspora and then tell them how you are being, persecuted at home, just because you are impeached. So I want to ask Kenyans to be very careful with people like Gachagua, because he's like a suicide bomber who has decided kaende. So him, whatever he says, he doesn't care the relationship between Kenya and the US. He doesn't care. He doesn't care the issues that the diasporans have. I am happy that one of the young ladies, a Gen Z in the US, put him on his place and questioned him about these issues of tribal bigotry that he has been, expressing. We want to ask Honorable Gachagua, if he has any information that he thinks can help this country, let him abide by the law, come and record a statement, and also help the investigators to pursue that matter to its conclusion. But going on, international media, international platform, and expressing himself as a messiah, while we know very well why Gachagua was removed from office, I think that is the highest level of hypocrisy of politics. And I believe that Gachagua can do better.
All right. Mheshimiwa Ngogoyo, I'll give you right of reply, and then we'll move on to a State House empowerment program that happened just this weekend.
Interesting. Gachagua needs to... There are people who think Gachagua needs to give information, needs to assist. He's not going to assist. He mentioned the president met 3 Al-Shabaab people. The information he's going to provide it to the US government, period. He is going to deal with that issue to its root. On the issue of the RSF, he has information that the president has assisted on the transmission of arms, and the UN has confirmed. us moving out from the non-ally, being removed, he will provide information to the US government, period. The story of thinking about Kenyans, whatever anybody thinks, we have no problem. But let me tell you, Kenya is not going to be run the way you think. It's going to be run the way it should be. Our democratic space, we've been given a space that we should operate within. When William Ruto, I was in his campaign in 2022. I have met him several times meeting ambassadors, and he used to give them his fears. He used to tell them they want to rig our elections, I'm not safe. At some point, they used to provide for him even security, the current president. And like Wakili said, anybody in the opposition, even in Tanzania, they cry out to the international community. We are crying out. There are a lot of things that are happening in this country that are not good. It is in our space to call the president out anytime. And when he's in power, it is the right time to use the international community to put this country under pressure for them to do what is correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll put a pin in that discussion and bring in Dr.